Hey everyone, it's Kim here. So today's episode is going to feel a little bit different. It's not going to be where I'm breaking down a particular concept step by step. Instead, what I want to share with you is something super personal. And it's something that's been unfolding inside of me for a little while now, maybe even years. And it's a part of me that has been around and I've carried for absolutely like decades. And I call this part of me Perfectionistic Paula. I've actually named her. And lately, Paula and I have been going through a transition, a real one, and one that feels both pretty good, but if I'm honest, pretty uncomfortable at the same time. So today I'm going to actually bring you into my process, not polished and not packaged, just actually honest, messy, and human. So let me start by introducing you to Paula. Paula has been with me for as long as I can remember. She showed up early in my life, very early, as the one who made sure she did everything right. She was the good girl. She was the achiever, the one who got good grades, who did well in sports. She's also the one who kept peace in the family. She was trying to make everyone feel happy and just really kept this very shiny image. And whenever life felt overwhelming, which was very often when I was a kid, when I was a child, Paula would jump in and she would say, this is subconscious, of course, I've got this. I'm going to work even harder to make sure that everyone is happy with us. And I'm just going to fix it. Just let me take over. And she believed deeply that perfecting was a way of protecting me. It was absolutely this subconscious belief that she could control things and had to protect me. So honestly, perfectionistic Paula, she wasn't that wrong. She helped me to survive an environment that was at times very dysfunctional. She helped me survive times that were actually very scary when I didn't feel safe. She helped me survive relationships and the expectations of others. So for years, she kept striving, she kept pushing, pedal to the metal, performing. She pushed me towards success and she pushed me through any fear that I had. This is how she protected me. She pushed me to keep going even when every part of me wanted to rest. And for a long time, this way of being worked until it didn't. So there was actually a cost of having perfectionistic Paula run the show. And perhaps you might be listening to this episode and thinking to yourself, oh, I can really identify. And I want to share this with you so that if you are going through something similar, that you can learn with me. We can learn together. And let me say this, if you are in your 20s, if you're like between the age of 21 and 29, 30 years old, and you're listening to this episode, I want you to take heed to the warning that if you have a perfectionistic Paula, that you listen carefully to what I'm going to share in this episode. I will also preface by saying that as I share, I'm not claiming to necessarily have anything figured out in this episode. I am still working through it and still grappling, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So, what is the cost to allowing my perfectionistic Paula to run the show? So, as I got older, then I started to notice that Paula was in the driver's seat. And I started to notice how exhausted I was. And even in my mid 20s, I would come home from teaching school. I was a brand new teacher. And I can remember just collapsing on the couch. I remember having so many GI issues back in those days. And then it just continued to progress from there to where when I was in my early 30s, I was 35 when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Sjogren's. But from really the age of 22 to 35 until I was diagnosed, I had all types of chronic health conditions, just exhaustion. Like I said, just feeling like there was this pressure on my chest all the time, anxiety, just always like scanning for the next thing that I had to control or fix or perfect or manage. I was really good at managing everyone's, trying to manage everyone's emotions around me. But here's the thing. While my life from the outside looked like it was very full, it didn't feel it. If anything, it was quite the opposite, that I felt very, very empty on the inside. I was busy, very busy, but not nourished. I was successful by most standards, but I did not feel fulfilled. And I was productive all the time, just doing, but not feeling peaceful, not having inner peace. And perfectionistic Paula, man, she just kept me moving, but she did not leave any time for me to rest, to have peace, to feel. And the truth is that when you're managing all the time, like how the world sees you, you lose touch with how you see you. So that is another cost to allowing your perfectionistic Paula to run the show.
Hey, it's Kim here, interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast episode to let you know about an opportunity to go deeper into this work. I invite you to head over to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of my book, Free to Be: A Pathway to Inner Liberation. If you are looking to unhook from people pleasing and perfectionistic patterns, if you're looking to have a better way of identifying your patterns and then how you can unhook so you can be free to step outside your comfort zone, free to have more meaningful relationships in your life, free to be your true self without hiding behind a mask any longer. If you desire any of this, then I encourage you to pick up your copy. And if you enjoy my book as much as I loved writing it, please go on over and leave a review on Amazon. You can leave a star review or written review. Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast episode.
Okay, so there came a time not long ago, and that's why I'm in the midst of this right now and I'm sharing it with you, because I guess I really have been gradually letting Paula rest and giving her permission, but I just recently had a really, really big breakthrough where I did a big piece of healing work. And I really had this aha moment of how I want to fully give Paula permission to rest. And while I thought I had been all along, maybe I did like little bits and pieces. I was letting her rest and I was letting go of perfectionistic tendencies. I mean, I've been doing this podcast for 5.5 years, and I've been talking to you about masks off for people pleasers and perfectionists. And I don't want to lie and say that I haven't been unhooking from that pattern. And it's an and there was still more for me to do. And so, like I said, just recently, I had this moment of aha and more of an awakening that I needed to let Paula really rest. And something just has really started to shift in me. It's like a combination of, as I said, doing the healing inner work. It was a combination of working with my coach and meditation and just like the chipping away, and slowly and surely unhooking, unraveling from the old pattern that I slowly started to realize that I didn't need perfectionistic Paula to protect me in the way that she was accustomed to. I didn't need for her to be perfect in order to be safe. And so that's one of the things that I have been working on consistently and diligently is how do I create safety for myself and in my body? So I think the more that I have been able to feel safe, the more I can relax in my body, the more I can let go. And I've done some somatic work recently that I realize I don't really need perfectionistic Paula to keep me safe. It's okay to be my true self. And I don't need to grind in order to feel worthy. I really don't need to grind to feel worthy, nor do you. And I don't need to be quote unquote on all the time in order to be loved. So that even goes for this show. Like, I would say that over, the last several months, I don't know if you can tell it, if you can sense it, but I know that the way that I'm showing up with my energy is different. I feel like I'm showing up more and more as my true self, and that I don't have to be performative with you in order for you to love me or love my show. I'm just being me. And so, like I said earlier, having this realization was, not necessarily peaceful and blissful like all the social media makes it out to be, like the way that social media can create a picture for healing work. It was not that at all. It's been confusing. It's been like a forward and back, one step forward, two steps back. There's been times where I've lacked clarity and I feel like I'm losing a part of myself, like a part of me is dying or going away, because at the end of the day, that when perfectionistic Paula took a step back or stepped back, there's more like silence, more like quiet, and the silence, I'm not gonna lie, feels a little bit terrifying. And that's because I had built an entire identity around achieving, constantly doing, performing, perfecting. And when that sort of fell away, it was like, okay, who am I really without perfectionistic Paula? It was almost like losing a best friend in a way. So here's how the pendulum ended up swinging then for me. So first I went from where I was all the way over into the perfecting and performing to swinging totally into the other direction. And this is where I want to be fully honest with you. Since I gave Perfectionistic Paula permission to rest, I have swung completely to the opposite side of the pendulum. And I have days where I feel like I have no ambition. I feel like, oh my God, am I becoming a lazy person? Am I entering into old age? And might I just tell you, I'm only 57, so I'm still very young, and I'm feeling like, okay, is this old age setting in? What's going on here? I feel like I sometimes don't have any push, and I don't have the desire to hustle or to grind, and it feels weird. It feels foreign to not necessarily wake up with that internal push. I'm not going to say it's not there at all, because there are certain things that I do still have to get done throughout the day, like grocery shopping or, laundry and making certain phone calls, paying bills, things like that. But for the most part, that internal motor is not running the way that it used to. So I feel like a little bit panicked and asking myself, like, wow, did I lose my drive? Am I becoming this lazy person? But when I sit quietly in my backyard in the chair and I'm looking at the water, and the sun is shining and the sky is blue, and I'm just being peaceful, I'm just being a human being, and I'm not being the human doing. When I sit there quietly, I realize that this isn't laziness. This is just a recalibration. At least I'm hoping. That's the story I'm telling myself. And this is the part where I'm being fully honest, that I don't really know the whole answer, but this is what my gut tells me. This is what my intuition tells me. This is what I know from all of the work that I've done, from all the teachers that I've learned from, that as we let go of our personas, as we let go of our ego, and we allow our true selves, our essence, to come more into fullness, as we come into wholeness. And that is really everything that I talk about and teach about on this podcast, is how to come into wholeness. And so I really believe that this is part of the process of me coming more into my wholeness, and not about me going from this overproductive, high achieving person to a lazy bump on the log. So it's just really, my system is unraveling, unhooking from decades of overfunctioning, decades of being in survival mode, really, because that's what it was, and just pushing myself to be enough. And let me just tell you, Perfectionistic Paula, whew, she worked overtime for so freaking long. And she's so exhausted. She really is. And she deserves the rest that she never got. And let me just tell you that your perfectionistic Paula also deserves to have a rest. She is exhausted. She's so tired of working overtime for you. And she's so exhausted of the over functioning and the producing and the hustle and the grind. And so that I hope that you will learn how to give your perfectionistic Paula the permission to rest, the same way I am learning to give mine rest. Now I'm like at the point where, okay, what does ambition look like? What does it feel like for me at this point? And here is what's so fascinating, is that as perfectionistic Paula starts to rest more and more, I'm starting to hear these little whispers where it's almost a little bit like a new type of ambition, or It's my intuition that is guiding me more and more. And that's also what's possible when we do the healing work and we unhook from our patterns, is that we can start to hear and tap into our intuition more and more. So now it's like, okay, what is available for me? Well, first of all, the ambition is softer. It is more intuitive. And now I'm in a place where I look for the breadcrumbs. I look for the breadcrumbs. What is the next step? What's the next step for my business? What's the next step for my health? Or what do I want to do in terms of my social life and community and relationships? So it's trying to just follow the breadcrumbs and flow with ease instead of trying to control or fix or make things happen. So it's definitely, at the end of the day, more aligned with my true self rather than how I thought it had to be. So that's huge right there. Being more in alignment is the key. And here's what the difference is, what it would sound like. So if it was the old version of me, it would sound like, I should do this, or I have to do this, versus now it's like, I want to do this. And there's a difference between self-pressure or putting pressure on oneself versus self-trust. And that's what I'm moving more into, is trusting myself, trusting my intuition, and trusting the universe more and more. So I'm not like fully there yet. It's still like, if I'm honest, I'm still in the in-between because I'm still navigating it all. But I feel like something really new and really cool is starting to take shape and take form. And it's this type of ambition that's going to come more from being in a place of freedom rather than fear. So what am I learning through all of this struggle that I'm going through? I actually, when I go through things, I compare it to, I say that I'm either on a mountaintop where like life is going great, I'm feeling good, we're all cylinders and are rotating together and I feel so aligned. So I'm up on the mountaintop feeling amazing. And then when it's time for a new up level, I say I'm in the valley. So that's where I've been, is in the valley with this. So what am I learning while I'm in the valley? And that's the goal anyway, is anytime that you go into the valley as well and you're in this place of angst, if you will, or things are feeling off, you're feeling disoriented, disjointed, you have this opportunity to learn and grow. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? It's happening for you, not to you. So what is this here to teach you? That's what I want to say. And so what I'm learning through all this, through this season, this valley that I'm in, is that number one is that healing can sometimes look like you're losing a part of yourself, but it's not. You're not losing a part of yourself. You're actually reclaiming parts of yourself and coming more into wholeness. So it absolutely is not about losing a part of yourself. That's one thing that I'm learning. Another thing that I am learning is that by giving myself the rest can feel, again, like it's an identity death, like part of me is dying, which is not true. As well, I'm just learning to show up differently. And the next thing that I'm learning while I'm in this valley is that when we are in a survival pattern, as I have described before, that when it starts to dissolve, that it can feel really weird. And let me tell you, it feels really, really weird that I'm letting perfectionistic Paula go. Well, let me clarify that. I'm not really letting her go. I'm letting her rest, because at the end of the day, this is something else that I learned is perfectionistic Paula served me as well. Our perfectionistic tendencies are not all harmful. They're not all unhealthy, right? Some of the strategies no longer work, but on some level, let's face it, perfectionistic Paula helped me to do a lot of things in my life. I don't think I would have written a book without her. I would not have probably stayed with this podcast for 5.5 years and showing up with all of you every single week for over 5 years if it weren't for Paula. So she definitely served me. And I don't want to say that she is completely gone. It's just that she's going to step into my hope is that she will step into a healthier role and not just be like the general in my life, the commander, and just taking over and dictating everything in my life. That she'll be more of a consultant and she can be there when I truly need her. So it's about giving her a different job than she used to. And really, for the most part, just like allowing her to just kick back and, maybe go to the beach and just chill out. And then from time to time, when I could use her, I can call on her. Here's the thing. I took a moment to, if I were to like write a letter to Paula, I wrote it down, and so I'll share what I wrote. So I said, Paula, thank you. Thank you for protecting me when I didn't know how to protect myself. Thank you for pushing me even when it meant you carried such a heavy load. Thank you for believing that perfection would keep me safe. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to hold the sword anymore. You can rest. I've got us now. So if you are listening to this, and again, you have been feeling something familiar, you resonate with what I'm saying, you are losing motivation, or you aren't hustling quite as much, or you're struggling to push yourself, and you are questioning your identity, maybe even your worth, I want to just first of all say, number one, most important, you are not broken. You could just be healing, or you're ready for something to shift. And so healing just often really requires you to slow down enough that you can meet yourself, meet your true self. And the healing work to really unpack this and unhook from it, it does take time, and it's not always easy, pleasant, or fun, but it is honestly worth every bit of the hard work to really heal from this. So again, if you resonated with what I said, I would love for you to, feel free. You can DM me if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Just let me know, like, yeah, me too, or I have a perfectionistic Paula as well. I genuinely love hearing from you and would love to hear your stories of what you go through. And I want to say again that if you're in your 20s and navigating this kind of like inner work that I talk about, and you're wanting more support on doing the work, or maybe you haven't even started the work, but you know you want to. You're listening to this episode and you're like, oh gosh, I really want to do something different so I don't end up where Kim is when she's 57. If you're wanting that, then I invite you to reach out to me. You can join my community for young women. It's called Real and Unfiltered, and we meet every week and we work through these things. It's completely free, and it's a space where you can, talk about the messy, the real stuff, and I'm really helping them learn how to take off their masks. And so let me know if you're interested in that. But I really appreciate all of you listening and showing up here to my podcast for such a long time and supporting. I really, really do appreciate all of it. And also just thank you for witnessing me today, because as I said, this was just me sharing what's real and raw for me in the moment. And I will continue to keep you posted on my progress through this valley that I'm in, as I really do continue to learn how to give Paula more of an opportunity to breathe.
Hey, Kim Gross here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Masks Off for People Pleasers and Perfectionists. I invite you to hop on over to my website, kimgrosscoaching.com. Right there on the front page, there's a quiz for people pleasers and perfectionists. You can find out if you have tendencies. You can also get into my newsletter, where you will be given valuable content every week on different topics I share here in the podcast. And if you really did enjoy this episode, if you found it helpful, if you found it valuable, please go to, if you're on YouTube, go and subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, then I invite you to leave a review. You can even do a star review. It doesn't have to be a written review. If you know of someone who can benefit from this podcast or this particular episode, please share it with them. I'll see you next time.